Always thankful and grateful for your presence, brother. Don't mind. I'm always thankful and grateful for your presence. Doing recording right now. Always thankful and grateful for your presence, brother. Mine Ascension with the top student, the young God.
I am here.
The young God that I always speak of with great admiration.
I am here.
Yes, brother.
Can only be as good as the master teacher himself.
Yes, brother. Let's get something flowing here. As you know, I love to be random, and I love to well, you know, always more options. But yeah, man. You know how I do, man. You know I love the. Ooh, it's better to be over here.
Closer.
Yeah. So I gotta charge it. Always love the so-called randomness of real conversation. I say so-called because, as we already know, nothing is random and nothing is coincidence. But when we do things so-called randomly, it's the best way for the spirit to move and work within synchronicity. And also, when I speak to the young gods like yourself, there's something that's pulled out of the subconscious that I'm able to access because you are sparking it and allowing me to look through the subconscious archives in order to pull that out. Because as we already know, we have so much information inside our DNA, inside our subconscious, or AKA we would like to call the Akashic records, so on and so forth. So I look forward to these times so much because unfortunately, you know, other so-called classes, I'm on Facebook or whatever, I'm doing a live show and all that stuff, and we keep going in these circles with surface rhetoric. We want to talk about surface things, and our expansion and our activation is based on the things that are uncommon. It's based on the things that are uncomfortable, because comfort sustains cycles, sustains what you claim is a problem. It's discomfort that causes change. But on that note, brother, let's speak on something, man. Throw something out, man.
Well, let's see. I've been looking through my page, doing my own.
Remember, just randomly go away. It could be because remember, we have no limitations. So it's about what's randomly on your mind. I don't care if it was about you were talking to some guy you were selling a house to or something. I don't care what it is. The whole point of this, we don't want it to be constructed. We don't want it to be organized. We want it to be quote unquote random. We want it to be the first thought or the last thought in order to spark the sequence. You see what I'm saying? So
all right, so then on that note, we might as well continue that conversation regarding that little altercation you had on your page. With
the furry hybrids.
Yeah, with the furry
hybrids. Oh, the furry hybrids. Well, what section shall we go in? Because are we speaking of the hair follicle aspect? Are we speaking of because if you notice, that entire post, or that very short that I really didn't get to finish because of the attack of the hybrids, really, but that very short timeline class I was about to do, bringing proof and evidence to the black woman being God, and proof and evidence of our fall causing our current state of quote unquote hairiness. And let's be honest, we're the least hairy people on the planet. I mean, it drives me crazy because all these people post African pictures all the time and don't notice that all of these Africans are smooth bodied. And then you're going to attack me talking about we always was furry and hairy? You post pictures of the San, S-A-N, or the Bantu people. They are some smooth motherfuckers. Even the men don't even grow no facial hair half the time. But they still arguing with me to justify their furriness? Then, of course, you know how it does with me. That provokes me to connect it to what I already know. But see, the way I know that the egotistical mind works, I know I have to add recessive rhetoric, or I have to add white science in order to make it a logical fit in order to make it factual. And this is another reason why I posted the definition of fact. Because the definition of fact, due to our recessive so-called mind and the ones that run our mind, is based on accumulation of articles and reports and so on. Yeah, so on and so forth. Of course, that's not the definition that the gods speak of, or us in the god realm, so on and so forth. But
and I saw you mentioned on your page. You should probably explain that difference too.
All right. Well, yes. Well, like I said, there's no limitations. Now, as far as speaking of fact and looking at fact as, because let's be honest, in the God realm, we don't even use the term fact because it's unnecessary. You see, these titles are so unnecessary. These titles come with your fall in the first place.
Deviations, because the fact of the matter is we always used to speak truth, so there was no difference between a fact and a lie because it was always just truth.
And not only that, we were always at the stage of the knower. Remember, you have the doer, you have the thinker, and you have the knower. Now, woman naturally, before she was deteriorated and destroyed or sustained her destruction as she currently has today, she was naturally at the knower stage. Man was always at the thinker stage, leading him to the doer. Now he's the doer, neglecting the thinker. You see what I'm saying? So technically, these terms that we like to call facts and research, do your research and all of this stuff, this comes from a fall of not knowing. This comes from the fall creating the results of your disconnection from being God, from being one with the source, from being an expression and a manifestation in the physical form of the source. So, what is a fact per se? We're talking about an accumulation, an endless accumulation, an extreme accumulation of experiences coming to conclusion using divine intelligence, using your basis of universal law. Universal law can't be disputed. So universal law is the confines that I use to dictate what that quote unquote fact is. It's a universal law that everything vibrates. So if you tell me that my physical actions stimulate my physical hormones, which in turn result to the stimulation of hair on my body, that's within the confines of universal law, because we're talking about vibration.
One thing leading to another.
And one thing leading to another. And that which one would that be? That would be cause and effect. Ah, see, love my students. Cause and effect. You see, correspondence, rhythm. You see what I'm saying? And then leading to what these, unfortunately, hybrids and stuff seem to constantly want to subconsciously and directly reject gender. Because gender's in universal law. It's not like gender is stuck on earth law. Gender is in universal law or omniversal law. And this seems to constantly be rejected on a level disguising it as some form of concept. Because I hear these, you know.
Gender is just a social concept.
Yeah, what?
It's something that man
Oh
created.
my God. Oh my bejesus. Oh my bala. Like, you know, once again, this is why it's so important, brother, to sit as gods, as scientists, and completely separate ourselves from these humanoids and these recessive reflections of the recessive that regurgitate recessive rhetoric in order to justify their recessive lifestyle and thinking. Because that's all it really is. You live a lifestyle that you know has contributed to our destruction. The way you justify it is by saying everybody does it. Or by saying that's just nature. You see? But at the end of the day, it truly takes a soul or it truly takes a deep intelligence to come to a conclusion and have integrity to say, damn, I've been doing this. Now that I know, I can do better. But they seem to not want to really do that. They seem that you're fucking dumb. You're stupid. Yeah, okay, yeah, I hear all of that. Sounds like a lot of emotion. But where is your reference? Where is your fact? Where is your science? Where is your endless history? And please, and that's another thing I notice about people. They give you recent history and act like it's ancient. It ain't ancient. And it's an absolute fact that we've been on this planet over 2 billion years. So when you're talking about some tribe in India after they was raped by Assyrians, you're still wasting my time. Because you're talking about something brand new.
1 second. Hello? No. Alright, bye.
But we're talking about brand new things as if they are the end all to justify our misunderstandings. We must understand that we are a people that have no beginning and no end. So we have endless cycles of endless falls from different stages of existence. To ignore that puts you in the smallest of boxes and gives you a birth and gives you a death. Me personally, I know death don't exist, and I know that I wasn't necessarily born. I have always been a form of existence coming through different manifestations of physical flesh or different manifestations of material matter or etheric matter, which, by the way, is still matter. Even when somebody has said some time ago, oh, gender doesn't even matter because at one point we were etheric, huh? Well, look up etheric, because etheric is just one stage of different bodies, because you have an etheric body. You have a causal body, you have an astral body, and you have a physical body. There's about 7 different bodies. The same way there's 7 different layers in atmospheres around the earth. The same way there's 7 different layers in the inner earth. That's another subject I'm not going to go into. But there are reflections of reflections in existence of infinity. So when we label ourselves as one thing and put ourselves in a box, now we must also understand that gender or polarity was the very first byproduct of the source. So if you're trying to go past gender, that means you're going straight to the source and you can't talk about nothing else but the source, and nobody knows what the source is. Because the source is forever, constantly, endlessly creating with no beginning or no end. The first, or the so-called purest byproduct of that, was its negation upon itself, splitting into feminine and masculine. Because remember, in order to get what we quote unquote see, what we call the prime source or the prime creator, whatever label you want to call it, I ain't talking no God, no man with dick and balls. We talking about something way beyond that. We talking about the purest center source of all existence, which means there's nothing outside of itself, right? So what does that mean? It had to negate upon itself. Once it negated upon itself, it separated itself into what we refer to as polarity and gender. Therefore, everything in existence, by universal law or omniversal, has polarity and gender. That's why it's a law. It's not a theory. It's not a philosophy. It's a law. So, yeah. It's just amazing when you, they don't understand that I'm literally baby spoon feeding them their own existence and history only because, see, I know if I give you too much, I'll just be a complete crazy nigga and you can't hear nothing I'm saying. But if I spoon feed you bit by bit, people are sitting there arguing about, I'm showing you not only books, not only references of what the Egyptians did yesterday, by the way, and we ain't even talking long ago. We talking yesterday, all right? Because 1300 BC, 1500 BC, 2000 BC, that's yesterday. Let's keep it real. Every time you fell from a higher state, you imitated that higher state in order to become it. So when you fell from a state of being a etheric or being a green, blue-hued skin, divine human being, you fell into a iron-based blood being, making you shades of brown. And you began to imitate higher beings, a higher in existence, by shaving, waxing your hair, putting certain metals upon your body, around your eyes and your brain. See, remember, at one time, our blood had gold in it. At one time, our blood had platinum in it. Now it has iron in it. So when we would use certain gold, platinum, copper-based cosmetics What were we really doing? Were we trying to look cute? No. We were actually making an effort to open blood vessels within our bodies to bring more oxygen to our brains in order to activate the connection between the left and the right hemisphere of the brain in order to activate a higher level of existence. Not only that, also to protect ourselves during the time of the atmosphere we were in, because once again, this earth has gone through many cycles and transitions and changes, as we're going through one right now, by the way. Many cycles, transitions, and changes where we had to adapt to the environment and atmosphere, and we had to use outside tools and resources to assist us in that adaptation. So this is why both men and women wore cosmetics.